have must-read books. You click on it, and then you see all the books appear here. So I'm going to talk about these books today, and also give something that not just in isolation, but tell you about some of the connection between the books and why I decided to choose them, for our class. Okay, so if you want to read, we talked about it. You see that most of the world famous leaders, one of the things that they are doing, they are reading a lot. And, this is a good practice that we should adopt if you want to really develop ourselves and become, in leadership position in our society. And the first book that I would like to talk about is a book that also was recommended to us before by one of the guest speakers, Oren, if you remember. And it's called How Google Works. And there is to give you a short review of the book, how about if we just go and see a very short, entertaining review of the book. So, it's not the right link. Try again. If it doesn't work, then we'll. Okay.
Today we all live and work in the internet century, where technology is roiling the business landscape, and the pace of change is only accelerating. Now, all the world's information and media is online. Mobile devices mean anyone can reach anyone, anywhere, anytime. And cloud computing puts a This means that long-standing barriers to entry are rapidly collapsing. Every incumbent business is now vulnerable to competition and disruption. What's more, power has shifted from companies to consumers, with bad reviews trumping even the most clever marketing. Within companies, the power has shifted as well. With cheap, easy tools for experimentation and iteration, individuals and small teams can have a massive impact. Product people who combine technical knowledge, business expertise, and creativity can have the biggest impact of all. These are smart creatives. And armed with the right technology tools and lots of freedom, they can do amazing things, amazingly fast. Yet most companies today are run to minimize risk, not maximize freedom and speed. In the internet century, being slow and risk-averse doesn't work. The only way for businesses to consistently succeed is to attract the best smart creatives and create an environment where they can thrive at scale. To do that, you have to make your company a place smart creatives want to work. This starts with culture. Smart creatives need to care about where they work. So plan your culture early, because once it's set, it's very hard to change. Write down the things you care about as a group, the way you work, and how you make decisions. Then live according to your own slogans. Next comes strategy. Most new ventures start with a business plan. The problem is, things are changing so fast that any thorough MBA-style business plan is doomed to fail. Smart creatives know this and will be scared that a formal business plan will hold them back. So if you're starting a new initiative, don't lock yourself into a rigid plan. Instead, build up a strategic foundation of solid technical insights and a bet on how things will change in the next 5 years. Then focus on hiring. It's the most important thing you can do, and everyone in the company should invest time in it. Once you've hired your smart creatives, you'll need to create an environment where they can thrive at scale. This starts with how you make your decisions. Consensus-driven decision-making is incredibly important, but it's not about everyone agreeing. It's about everyone being heard and then rallying around the best answer based on data, not the highest paid person's opinion. How you communicate is also critical. As a leader, your job is to maximize the velocity and volume of information flow within the company. Share as much as you possibly can with as many people as could benefit from seeing you. The right freedom and tools will help your smart creatives innovate. But remember that innovation can't be owned or ordained. It needs to be allowed. This advice isn't just for entrepreneurs or high-tech businesses. Opportunity is everywhere, and so are smart creatives. All you need is a big idea, the guts to take a risk, and the ability to attract and lead a team of smart creatives to make it happen. If you'd like to learn more, visit howgoogleworks.net and pick up a copy of the book today.
This was a very quick summary of what's going on in the book. So I want to highlight a few things. First of all, this morning I found some links actually to what I believe is the almost entire book on videos that you can actually click and listen to. I have a feeling that you might, it's more audio than video, but you might download it and even in your car listen to some of the insights even in the book. Let me ask you, how many people this year are going to be on the job market looking for jobs? Raise your hands. You are not going to be looking, you already have jobs? Nobody is going to look for a job, maybe next year?
Next year.
Next year. Okay, maybe next year, that's okay. How many people would love to work for Google? Raise your hands. Honestly, how many people would love to work for Google? Well, you know what's the first thing that you need to do before, if you want to have a good chance maybe to be considered for Google? What do you need to do? To understand how
The culture.
Google works. Does make sense? If you really want to see a big chapter or big part is really what type of people Google would like to hire and how you can prepare yourself. I think if you prepare yourself to be hired at Google, you'll be probably prepared to be hired by many other companies. So let's talk a little bit about what kind of people Google likes to recruit. And they like to recruit what they call smart creative. They are looking for some smart creatives, and now a lot of other companies are looking for the same people. So how do you get smart?
Learn, read books.
Exactly. Everybody has a different starting point. I think that your starting point are better than mine, because I told you I was not accepted to the Technion as an undergraduate. So maybe you are more talented, your starting point is a little bit ahead of me. But by reading books, basically, depending what books, but books that are highly recommended by people that you trust, major magazine, Fortune, Business Week, and so forth, you are going to actually learn from the best, smartest people in the world. These are people that are written, you know who wrote, you know how Google works?
Larry Page.
The CEO, no?
Eric Schmidt.
The CEO, and another very high executive that wrote the book. But Schmidt was running Google for 10 years. And he must be really a smart person, because you want to be hired to Google, and he is sort of running the company. So you want, all the 10 books that I recommended are really written honestly, by the smartest academics or professional in the world, and that's the best way for you to try to really understand how they think. And once you read them all, you start to think like them. You become smart. So, about becoming smart, the only way is to read books, the best books, and really try to think and see what they think, like what wisdom you can get from the book. And one of the, obviously, why Google is so great, they are hiring smart people. Smart and creative. Okay? So it's not enough to be smart, but you also have to train yourself, to be creative. I put basically an article today on our cafe. It's in Hebrew, so you cannot read it, but you can see the video, which is in English. This is the most watched video on TED. Tens of million people are actually watching it. And anybody know what video I'm talking about? How many people do know what video I'm talking about? Watch.
Is it Ken Robinson?
Yeah, most watched video on TED. There is some posting that we put on the guest speaker today, which is from Uber. And This is the translation to Hebrew of the topic of the article, or the title that relates to the article, and you can watch it on TED. But we are taking, basically with our education system, we are taking 4 years old and we kill their desire to learn. That's what happened to our school system and the way we teach people. We kill their creativity. Because kids are so curious, they want to invent, and then we start to put them in a box. We teach them a standard program, we don't develop their creativity, and now you guys are sitting in the Technion, and probably during the process they killed our creativity, right? Agree? Or you're still, no?
It's somehow true. Like, I mean, you
somehow
can see, for example, when you look at test questions, or you're always being tested in exams, but usually exams are designed in a way that there's only one right answer, because that is comfortable for the professors and other people to check. Of course, now you can say we also have projects and so on, but like mainly it's tests, and with that, of course, you kill creativity, because it's not creative always to ask the question.
Right. So anyway, I mean, you want to watch this video at your own time. It's very funny. It's very funny, but here's a British accent, so it's a little bit hard to follow up. You want to probably watch it 2 or 3 times. But he has an honor recognition. Government is using his consultant. He is one of the smartest people that you want to learn. So again, reading books now and actually watching TED videos, probably the ones you will get exposed again. It's another benchmarking type. We benchmark against the best in class. People also, want to benchmark against the best in class. Anyway, some of the books that I put on my recommendation list are books that are designed to actually develop again, our creativity and how to really stimulate the creative parts in our brain that were actually being limited, and they if you don't use it, they start to get rusted, right, Gal? So let me show you the book list that I have that are actually related to creativity. So remember how we go there to look at the books? We just go to the So let's look at the title. Why not? The creative person, he's not accepting what we do, but he's asking why not. Most people will say they are called the naysayers. In your companies, everywhere, you have an idea, they are going to say no, no, no. The first thing they don't think, no, it's the safer thing. And they are going to kill creativity, so you should be always asking yourself, why not, and try to find a new solution, because there is room to a lot of new solutions. Technology is changing, means, education. I showed you a small sort of video. I saw that you are watching it, but it's a new technique to, to draw your attention very quickly and to throw some ideas around. Okay, so we have a lot of amazing tools that we can really use to resolve or create new solutions. Okay, the book here is The Solution Revolution, which I highly recommend. Some of the readings are taken from this book. It's a very new book, but it's exactly about what you need to do, how to think, how to recruit network of people, other people, and put together an ecosystem to basically come up with new solutions. Okay, so this is a good book. It's a little bit old, but it was written of one of the smartest people that I know from Yale University, two professors. Nate Buff is one of them, and the name of the other is Brandenburger. Two very smart professors put together this book. I think the second one is maybe not Brandenburger, but another professor from Chicago. Look at the title of this one. Think like a freak. Do you know what is a freak, right? What is a freak?
Yeah.
Somebody
If you're a freak, then you already have it something.
somebody outside of the box. Put it simply.
Well, you are really creative if people start to look to you like a freak or weird and they say this doesn't work. This will not work. That's a good sign that maybe you have something there. If you draw a lot of controversy, if everybody agrees, probably it's not creative enough. So even if you learn in teams, don't kill, don't put them down. It sounds weird, but be very patient as you work with teams, because this might actually turn out to be a very innovative, a very creative solution. So he gives a lot of examples. Again, one, the guy that wrote Think Like a Freak, he also wrote this Freakonomics and Super Freakonomics, the same ideas. And here's a young professor, from University of Chicago, that won the best economist award, young economist award in the USA. And he shows how you can use data, and we said that data is also a currency, Veronica knows. He basically, it's really an eye-opener, to read it, really to understand economics, not the way they teach it, but really the way it should be. So all these three books are, about thinking like a freak and looking at all the. So he is very courageous indeed, including how the drug industry works. It's $1 billion, or how. איך אומרים באנגלית זנות? שכחתי. Prostitution, yeah. Prostitution, exactly. It says it over there. So nobody had the courage, If you are really an innovator, you should also have the courage to go to places and take, obviously, objection and controversy and so forth. But you need usually courage to do things different. And go out. Don't sit with your books in your office, but be very observant. And a lot of techniques are discussed, in the books that you should be reading. So I really highly recommend. They are looking for smart. By reading book, you become smarter. But by creating, you need sometimes to practice, to have tools. And specifically in this book, Why Not? He gives a lot of tools and how to think. If everybody is thinking here, you think the other way. Sometimes, and you get a lot of new insight and new creative ideas. I don't know about you, but I do it naturally because I'm dyslexic. So I try to actually see the opposite of other things, but it's also very helpful because it makes you, think the other way, in a natural way. Some of the books that will make you really smart, understanding the science behind things and how, people behave, how people develop habits. You know what they say about us in some of the psychologists? What we are?
Not rational people.
Well, that's okay, but there is also a book about irrationality, so predicting irrationality. Some people, when you are creative, think that you're not irrational, but that's okay. We are basically, every person can be viewed as a collection of habits. You have your own collection of habits, I have my own collection of habits. That makes what makes us different. Does it make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So if that's the case, a book like The Power of Habit and how habits are formed and really understanding it, it's amazing. You read this book, they're full of interesting, amazing stories and so forth. So that's why I put it also here. Dan Ariely, he has 3 books.
Yeah.
The first one is Predictably Irrational. How many people read? Did you enjoy reading it?
Amazing.
It makes you feel stupid because he explains to you how you're being manipulated all the time.
Right.
But you then are a bit more aware of how and when you're manipulated.
Okay.
It doesn't help you, but...
Okay, this one, you want the book free, it's on my list, so I hope you read it. I think it's a great book. And Contagious, Why Things Catch On. It's about how things catch on and you get a lot of buzz and word of mouth. This is a professor who wrote, or a young guy wrote it. It's very well accepted. Everything, when you look at Amazon, they get very high. So let me just share with you Anybody, so I know now that you read Predictably Rational, it was translated to Hebrew. Anybody read another book here from the list that can maybe share? You didn't. Nobody read any, here's a list of books. I know you read Predictably Rational, but there are 9 books that you didn't read, right? Anybody read another book? Yeah.
Free economics.
You
I
read
have
Free
it.
Economics?
And super
You
free
have it
economics.
or you read it?
Both.
Okay. What, do you like it?
Yes, it's a good book. It's a very
It's a
good
good book, so you'll join me in the
Uh,
recommendation.
Absolutely. It's again, he kind of explains a lot of stuff. As you said, he doesn't teach economics as you have demand and request and so on, but he tells like real life stories of things that actually happen, and then he explains the logic behind it. Because when he gives you the example,
Right.
it seems like a very weird phenomenon. And then when he explains the rationality behind it, then you kind of think, well, how didn't I think about that?
Okay. So I think that one of the habits that we want to develop, this is the good habits, is reading books, right? This should be part of our habit. It doesn't matter if you read 1 page a day. Make it a habit to read every day part of the book. It can be half a page and a half. Sometimes you'll be caught and you'll finish the same chapter. But the reading is on variety of topics, actually. I would also encourage you, these are just things that relate directly to our class, but I also would encourage you to read books on your hobbies. The more things you do, the more you get to something that they are looking also. And these are called T-shaped people. And now a lot of companies are looking at Google and say, wait, they are doing so well, so how can we do like them? So everybody is starting to look. Have you heard the term T-shaped people? I know that you did. Anybody else? You did? Okay. So T-shaped people, they are T because they have one area that they are really best of the best of the best. So one area that who is the expert, who knows better than anybody else, you have to develop it. And I had to develop it myself in one area, otherwise I would not be hired, as a professor to a good institution. So usually I develop something. Sometimes you don't know you're good at it, but obviously you want to develop this area of expertise of something that you are good at, you're enthusiastic at, and it comes to you in a more or less natural way. And I'm sure everybody here in the class has something like this. Maybe you didn't discover. At your time, I didn't discover it. But only when I started to study and open myself, suddenly I realized that here is one area that, I can really beat anybody. Okay? But, as you explore this area, you should be exploring and really understand a lot of other areas because you can connect to other people, to other teams. And this could be your hobbies or things. During my career, I did a lot of things and I still do them. Art, music, chess, sports. The more you really do it and you really understand it, when they talk to you, when they interview you, they would ask you, and probably you should also put it on your CV. All the hobbies, if you traveled overseas for a long time, if you came here to Israel, and you came to Israel, and you came, and you study here, it opens your mind. So this should be definitely on your CV. That's where you go to these other areas, So if you want to be hired by Google, it's not like you need to walk. If you played poker for 5 years and you gave us the presentation and you learned so much, that's something that should be on your CV. And you should know how to put it. You were not a gambler, but you were intrigued by the uncertainty, how to operate under uncertainty, and highlight it the way you did it here when people talk to you. So learn how to present yourself. Okay. Now, you need to work on it. It's not that now everybody I'm here. But you can fairly quickly develop that kind of personality or person and you need to just get to new habit. First of all, you need to realize what you do, and you need to document it. That's why in our site, and in the B Corp site, we gave you a space where you can actually start to pay attention to what you're doing for the community. And in social venture, and the topic that we talked today about, the non-monetary currency basically, or the social currency, these are the things that you should also build. Everything that is in the monetary, you heard the name brand, Mutag, social brand. What means social brand? You should build your social brand, your own brand. When people look at your accomplishments and things that you do, you should be proud of it, that it should be part of your, record. When you write a CV, or somebody writes a recommendation letter to you, it's useless if you write, I'm talented in this, I can do this, I can do B, I can do C. That's what you think. I want to see, I've done this. Here's a project that I was a leader. Here is some contributions, some creative things. If you do creative things in class, you actually help, then write it. Maybe later on when people look at it, people will disagree. But if you really do valuable things, you will put them, and other people will agree that this was very valuable. But you need to help people write, about your recommendation letters. You need to start by writing your own recommendation letter and compile all the things that you have been doing, because this will remind people, Yaakov. There are so many people that, do things and you cannot remember. So first of all, Yaakov, you need to take the initiative and to compile and remind everybody what you have done for community, society, for the big corporation. And as I said, as an exercise, very valuable exercise, everybody will write a recommendation letter for somebody in the class. That's what we said, and an option to somebody in the team. That's what we agreed. But to make it easy for them to write, really, they'll go to your record and they'll take the record and they'll start editing it from there. Everybody should build a group of people that any time can write a recommendation letter for you. Of course, it will be updated because you'll be achieving everything. For instance, I received this week a call for a grant. There is a grant for somebody, graduate student from here, to go to Canada for a year. It's a very generous grant, maybe $30,000 or $40,000. And it's opportunity, but obviously you need 3 recommendation letters from faculty members. Now, how can you get 3 recommendation letters if you just are looking for one? Good luck, you won't. But if you have developed it, you kept in touch, you have something to show. So this is something that you need to think about it everywhere, in the company, in everywhere. Pick up mentors, pick up some mentors, develop mentors that they know you, you know the work, and then anytime you have to earn, their recommendation letters, you need to do that. I mean, when I had to get a job, I switched universities in the past from time to time because I wanted to experience new things. You know how many recommendation letters I needed to have? 10. And I didn't choose the people that write recommendation letter. They choose them randomly. The university is looking at what I'm doing, what kind of research. They're asking over there experts to see, who is working in this area, who knows this area. And I can suggest, few names, but they pick the names that they want. And then the people send recommendation letters. You don't know who they are. They can write everything that they want. But they look at the record. They get my CV, all the papers, they get everything, and they have their own benchmark and they can look at it. But this takes years of developing it and doing things. The same, you work in a company, you work on projects, You know, sometimes you are not so fortunate if you work for your, like the defense ministry or something, everything is secret, then it limits your ability to show what you are doing. But just like the fact that you worked on some elite units or some other things by itself, it brings some reputation. But of course, you should not limit yourself to things that you do over there. Try to develop your own, what we call pet projects. Even if you are working with a company today, you can join, you know, new ventures. You can really start to develop entrepreneurial project, and show some results. Even here in this class, you develop some project. You know, if you develop them seriously and you get an interview, here's a project that I participated in. Of course, if the project continues, develops, then you're the founder. So you should be looking actively how to develop your own, we call this social assets, your social brand. This is like any currency, it's better. And I started, you know, in Hebrew, you know, this, we didn't